Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul, and today we are here to say nice things about ourselves. Yes, indeed, I am working with my I Am deck today. Now, this deck is chock full of positive affirmations. And the reason that we use such positive affirmations is because most people inside of our heads have a constant track running of negative self talk. We consistently telling ourselves that we're not good enough, or that we can't do it, or that everybody else is somehow better than us, and that even though other people are doing it, that we can't. And these thoughts, these thought forms, these patterns are instilled in us at a very young age, and so it takes a long time to change that mental thought process. And so every single morning at 9 a.m., well, between Monday and Friday at 9 a.m., I come with the wake up call with Maui Paul. We're going to pull a card off the top of the deck. We are going to affirm the affirmation on that card. So let's have some fun. Let's pull a card. Let's see where we end up today. So today, I am streamlined. I am streamlined. I reduce resistance and minimize clutter in my life. So I am streamlined. I reduce resistance and minimize clutter in my life. Are you streamlined? You are streamlined. You reduce resistance and minimize clutter in your life. So I have to admit, I am a kind of person who does not like to be all that organized. I mean, not in my physical reality. I am a creative mess in a lot of ways, and I recognize that that is an I am statement. But it's the truth of the matter. When I create, I make a mess, and it's very important for me in order to really to be in control of my creation, that my workspace is always set up for creating. And I've found that the easiest way for me to overcome this is just to have less stuff, to be very intentional about the things, the objects which surround me. Because if I'm not intentional about it, then they tend to just bury me, and I would be found in later after I died in a pile of my own mess. And so one of the first things that when I really realized this about myself, I went completely minimalist. I mean, I did a 100 item challenge for a couple of years. I didn't own more than 100 things. Think about what a small number that is. I'm currently have thousands of things, but I only had 100 for many years. And that helped me to understand, first of all, what's really important to me, and also it helped me to really overcome the um, the influence of advertising. So I'm going to write down that I am streamlined. I'm going to write that in the comments, and I encourage you to write that as well. Because as we write it down in the comments, we take it from a thought form, which exists right up here, and we make it real. It goes out on the internet. It's real. It's a thing. We can see it. Other people can see it. It can exist in other people's heads too. We expand that. We expand consciousness in that way. So I've just written that down. And I encourage you to write it down as well. When you write it down, I will affirm it for you. And I encourage you to find my comment and affirm it for me too. You get one of the wonderful things about being streamlined and reducing clutter. Clutter is just one of those realities of the universe. And you think about the concept of entropy. Entropy means that order tends to disorder. So things which are orderly tends to become disorderly over time, which means that we need to be very intentional about ordering things the way that we want them to be. And if we don't do that, if we don't pay attention, then things will tend to become disorderly into the point where they're not even useful to us anymore. I remember that I've helped a lot of people organize their lives, and so many of them have like a junk room, or they have, oh, that's the entire bay of their garage is just full of junk. Well, what is it? Well, it's stuff that was at one point useful, but then it got stacked on top of other stuff that was useful, and then it got stacked on other stuff that was useful and valuable, and this entire pile of useful, valuable items became worthless because it just wasn't organized. And so I'm working intentionally on being more streamlined, on deciding what are the objects in my life that I use all the time, and making sure those fall close to hand, and making sure that the objects that help me with my goals fall close to hand, and also making sure that my goals are streamlined with each other. It's difficult to have goals that work at cross purposes. If I have one goal that takes me to the left and another goal that takes me to the right, then it's very difficult to be streamlined in that instance. But if I have two goals and they're both over here on the left, or two goals that are on the right, then I can walk in that direction and achieve both of those goals automatically. And so that's really the way that I view being streamlined. And so you are streamlined as well. Consider the places in your life where you've made the habits that you want to, that are good for you, easy to do. And make the same way that we make the habits that we don't want to do more difficult for us. So one of the foremost things that I've ever learned about habit is that we have habits because they benefit us. So even when we have bad habits, or even objectively habits that we know are bad for us, people who are into, like exogenous substances that really hurt them, know that these things really hurt them, but also they get a significant benefit from it. The benefit is greater than the cost. So when we identify something in our lives that costs us more than it benefits us, it's really important to put a little roadblock in the way. So we streamline the things that we want to accomplish, and we de-streamline the things that we don't. So for example, I have on my desktop computer a little add-on called the Facebook News Feed Eradicator, because I have to hop onto Facebook. But oh my goodness, it's so easy to hop on Facebook, and there's something from my friend, and then I'm looking at it, and there's something else from my friend, and then I'm looking at it, and then there's something I disagree with, and so I have to put in my 2 cents about that, and 45 minutes later I have scroll holed into Facebook and accomplished nothing. So the newsfeed eradicator just replaces the newsfeed with an inspiring quote that says, "Hey Paul, get to work." And in doing so, it just makes it more difficult for me to find that news feed. So it makes it difficult for me to fall into that scroll hole. I actually have the same exact thing on YouTube, because to me, YouTube is television. I don't have a TV, but I sure do have YouTube, and I like YouTube. But it's easy, very, very easy, for me to lose time in YouTube. In fact, one of my foremost YouTube hacks is that when I do watch YouTube, I'm either watching it because it's brainless. It's just brainless drivel. It's entertainment. It's a place to rest my mind, or I'm watching it to learn something. And when I'm watching it because it's brainless drivel to rest my mind, I just set the speed at like 1.5 or 2x, and at least then at least I've streamlined my my brain resting process. And when there's something that I really want to learn, I watch the video at regular speed. I found that most people on YouTube talk much more slowly than I can understand what they're saying, and so I just speed it up. So that's just a quick YouTube hack that I use that has been very, very beneficial for me. Ultimately, guys, we streamline our lives in such a way that the things that we want to accomplish are easy, and the things that we don't want to accomplish are hard, and that the habits that we want to have more of are easy, and the habits that we want to have less of are difficult. And so that's what I encourage you to do today. I'm sure that you can find instances in your own life. I know I have a friend who makes sure that there's never any junk food in her house, or that there's very, very little of it, because that way she won't eat it. She'll reach for something healthy because something healthy is in front of her, and something that is not healthy for her, maybe it's in her house, but it's buried in the back of the freezer. It just makes sense. Anyways, thank you guys so very much for coming over here, for sharing this broadcast. Y'all rock. If you need a particular affirmation, I have them archived on my YouTube channel, and which you can watch at 1.5x speed if you want to, or you can watch it at 0.5x speed. The controller is there in the lower left, or the lower right corner. And yeah, so I just want to say thank you guys so very much for joining the Wake Up Call. You guys are the reason I do this, and now that I have done this, I'm going to move along with the rest of my life, which I have streamlined. I have my next task is literally right next to me. So I have some journaling to do. My journal and my pen are right next to me to make it easy for me to close the laptop lid and just do that. But my YouTube channel is linked in the video description, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Aloha from paradise.